of Elbaz Avesha Torah, Elbaz, a neighbor, and we davened Ma'ariv. After Ma'ariv, I asked him, so give me something on Hoshana Rabbah. What am I talking about? So he said to me something which was awesome, which you'll see in a minute why it's so awesome. So he said, before I tell you, no, I'll tell you what he said. He said, Hoshana, we say Hoshana, Hoshana Rabbah, Hoshana. We say over and over and over again, Hoshana. Lamadcha Elokeinu, Hoshana, Lamadcha Boreinu, Lamadcha Goleinu. We say over and over, and we're going to say tomorrow a bunch of times. Walk around a bunch of circles. By a bunch, I mean 7, which will end up being a lot more than 7 probably, because no one's really paying attention. As opposed to by a wedding, when everyone's paying attention. One more time, So anyway, he said to me, what's Hoshana? I never heard this. It might be a very well-known idea. He said, Hoshana is Hoshana. Hoshana. What's Hoshana? Na is Nun Aleph. Nun Aleph, numerical value of 51. Hoshana, that we say over and over, 51. It's 51 days today from Rosh Chodesh Elul. From Rosh Chodesh Elul until today, it's 51 days. And it was said on the sign, if you saw a little bit of the sign, speaks about that. What's Hoshana Rabbah? Without getting too Hasidish, if we get Hasidish, it's going to go to Hanukkah. But if we don't get too Hasidish, so we know Hoshana Rabbah is the Chasim, this is the Gemara that talks about. That Hoshana Rabbah is the end of everything. We start off with Rosh Hashanah, we begin with Elul, then we get Rosh Hashanah, we get Yom Kippur, we got Hoshana Rabbah. Everybody says to each other, you should have a which, for those who don't know what that means, a Piskatuva, which basically, your letter should be good. You should have a good letter. It should be a good final judgment. Because we know that the letters are being sent out right now. Rosh Hashanah is the Ksiva, Yom Kippur the Chasima, assuming it's Beinanim, and then on Hoshana Rabbah it's sent out. Now, before I get too intense, I do want to mention, because I forget to say this sometimes, someone asked me after a shir I gave not long ago, I mentioned Agav, point about din, about judgment. And someone said to me, why does Judaism have to be so intense, like with judgment all the time? It's judgment, and it's judgment. It's like, it's so much judgment, and what's happening over here? And as a matter of fact, very fascinating, most people's introduction to Judaism, when you meet most people that are not affiliated to Judaism, they don't really know much about it. What is every unaffiliated Jew, which holidays are they familiar with? Hanukkah, okay, Kwanzaa, Pesach, good. Come on, 2 more, I'll give you a hint. We just did them. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, right? Some of them even fast, almost till Chatzos. So we go and we see this thing, the Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. They come in with the big white yarmulkes, and they walk around, and that's their introduction and their end to Judaism. Can you imagine you walk in like, let's try out this Judaism thing, right? That's if they come for Yom Kippur, right? And if it's Shoshana, it's like, so they're blowing horns, people screaming, no one knows what's going on. That's the idea. People crying, that's as opposed to, I don't know what he goes by now. Corey, what does he go by now? What's his Hebrew name? Corey? Okay, Corey, are you here? Where are you? Anyway, he's visiting now. What was his introduction to Judaism? For those who know who he is, Purim. He met someone in an elevator who basically said to him, hey, why don't you come to my house? Right? They're both Jewish. Now, if you grew up secular, that's a very freaky request. Hey, nice to meet you. Why don't you come to my house? Who are you? Right? But if you grew up religious, okay, Shabbos is free. Right? It's like free meal. So he said, come over on Purim. He goes, who's Purim? He goes, don't worry, come over. That was his introduction to Yiddishkeit. Comes to Judaism. He walks into his house. Everyone's like, he's writing checks to people. They're eating food. They're drinking. That's what it's about. But if you go up religious, it's like a little more intense, perhaps. Like this concept of, and even if not most people are seeing it, this concept of din, judgment. So this person who asked me the question, I said, okay, first of all, do you mind me asking, are you Ashkenaz or Sephardi? The person said, I'm Sephardi. I said, I don't think you're really Sephardi. Like, if you're asking me this question, usually they love that thing. So what do you mean? I said, relax. And they tell me they listen to Rav Yosef Mizrahi. I said, okay, now I understand. You know, Mizrahi. And I say, you're 100% going to, I don't care. You're wrong. It is what it is. Hell. That's it. I don't care. You go to hell. Anyway, Mizrahi is a very intense type of learning. I said, first of all, it's okay. You need more of an Ahava approach, right? Like, just chill out a little bit. Take a step back. But I want to just point out, before we get too nuts of the concept of din, of judgment, recognize something. How many court systems out there are there that give you a chance if you mess up. You mess up, they give you a chance to change it. Okay, in another 10 days I'll give you another chance. Fine, in another week I'll give you another chance. And if we get Chasidus in a couple of months, we'll give you another chance. If you mess up after that, Hatzlacha Rabbah. But you have until then, Hashem gives this over and over. What does that mean? What are you scared of the judgment? Everybody understands there has to be some sort of order. So recognize this concept of judgment is not that bad. It's actually an excellent process. We have to have a system that works. Because Baruch Hu has amazing rachamim that he gives over and over. Erech Hapayim gives us a chance over and over. You can change, you can change, you can change, you can change. I don't want you to die, I want you to change. I want you to change. And if you change, I'll take you home. Don't worry about it. Right away, you're in. So what's Hoshana, Rabbi? Hoshana, 51 days. What's 51? So I was, remember, I started preparing for this many minutes ago. And after Avel was mentioned this idea, I was like, that's it, 51. No, it's 51. And it reminded me that I was standing a few years ago in my chavrusa, my Heilige Chavrusa's house of Shimon Kaufman. And on his table, he had a little book. And in that book, there was a story. And the story was about a Rebbe. There was a Rebbe that was walking back and forth. He was pacing. And he was saying, 51 is not 52. 51 is not 52. Over and over, 51 is not. So his Talmidim, his Chasidim said to him, what are you talking about? What's 51 is not 52? What does that mean? So he said the following. I've had many people, including perhaps people I know very well, maybe myself, who have thought of this and perhaps asked the following question. Comes around Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and we say, do you really have to put so much effort into it? Do you really have to think and daven and cry out and whatever? My life has been pretty good. For the most part, everyone in this room right now, your life has been pretty good. As a matter of fact, your life has been amazing. You'll tell me you don't know what's going on in my life. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know the challenge I've had or I have. So how could you tell me my life is amazing? Oh, but I'm not going to spend the time doing this because those who are in Eish Torah have heard this many times before, I'm hoping. If you could hear me, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. You could hear me now. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? If you could see me right now, you could see me. And that's very awesome for you. If you shook my hand before and you could feel, you walked here, our lives are amazing. Our lives are incredible. Yes, we have hard times, but our lives are really amazing. 51 is not 52. What does that mean? So how many people have thought perhaps, you know what, so I didn't daven this year. Does it really make a difference? Last year was good, year before was good, year before was good. And those who daven every year, sometimes your davening isn't so good. You feel it. You don't feel like you daven so well. And sometimes you feel like you prayed amazingly, but your year didn't go as well as you would have thought. It's not necessarily commensurate that what you daven, that what you get, or so it seems. And some didn't daven at all. For someone who grew up secularly, perhaps you didn't daven for 20 to 30 years or 40 or 50 years of your life. And someone's like, oh, it's Yomim Noraim now. Here come the high holy days. Make sure that you pray if you want to have a good year. Dude, I've had a great life. What do you mean I have to start praying now? My life has been amazing. Why should I start praying now? 51 is not 52. So there's a little story. It's found in Genesis, chapter 18. And that's with Abraham and the angels come. Now moving into chapter 19, when we get to the story with Lot, or Lot, if you prefer. And if you take a look what happens over there, moving into chapter 20, things start getting a little bit intense. And that is they destroy a town called Sodom. Now, realize, Sodom, although Sodom was the very famous Sodom, you've heard of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So that's why people get confused. They come here the first year, they're like, we're learning Gemara. You're like, why would you learn Gemara, right? But anyway, the point is, Sodom and Gomorrah, it wasn't just one city, Sodom. It wasn't two Sodom and Gomorrah. There were actually 5 cities. There were 5 towns. Woodmere, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm from Woodmere, so I could say it. If you don't get that, that's better. There are 5 towns. Sodom, Amorah, Boacha, Soar, and you don't remember the 5th either. In any event, there are 5. Now the one that's relevant, and I'm going to point out right now, is that when the angels come, and the angels come to save, they come to destroy Sodom, they come to save Lot. If you don't know the story, They're angels that came to save Lot. Now, when they came to save him, they're like, let's go, we got to go. And okay, he has a whole shalshelis about it. And eventually he says, okay, he says, can we go to Zoar? What word does he use? He says, na, which happens to be the number Nun Aleph, which is 51. Why did you want to go to Zoar? Why wasn't Zoar destroyed? If Sodom was destroyed. You see, because Zoar is called Zoar, says Rashi, because it was Yoter Tza'ir. It was younger. It was younger than Sodom. How much younger was it? 1 year younger. Sodom was 52 years old, and it got destroyed. Zoar was only 51. It didn't yet reach its capacity of sin that it should now be destroyed, so he can go and find refuge for the time being. Says the Rebbe, 51 is not 52. So he had a great life. 1 year went well, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30, 35, 40, doesn't matter. What makes you think that there's any connection between last year and this year? I know what makes you think that, because we get used to things, but realize that there is no connection between last year and this year. Just because you had a good year last year, it could have been chesed, it could have been you got your gmul, you got your schar, it could have been tons of things that are going on. The bottom line is that 51, na, Hoshana, is not 52. We ask Hashem, if this is a midah ra, that it could be looking at that, okay, it didn't get destroyed yet. We didn't yet fix it yet. The Rebbeinu Shalom erech hapayim. He elongates, the anger holds off, doesn't give us a smackdown, rates back. We got to get our game on. On. Aleph Nun. Gematria 51. Now's the time to get our game on. Hoshana Rabbah. Hoshana Rabbah. This is the big one, my friends. There's a lot more that comes with this. Amazing. I was doing a little bit of research on my research machine, and I found what else is Gematria 51. We know that the Medrash says that Hashem said to Avram Avinu, if kapara is not given to Bnei Yisrael on Rosh Hashanah, I'll give it on Yom Kippur. If it's not given on Yom Kippur, it's going to be given on Hoshana Rabbah. And the HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Avram Avinu, he said, I'm one and you're one. Through us, your children are going to be saved. And that's when we say na. Isim Gematria is Echad V'Yachid. 51. It's also Tov. 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 I don't know how to tie that in. It's just good. 3 times. 51. All right. So now we take a look and we start to see. We just said a kapitel Tehillim together. If you notice which kapitel it was, which one was it? Nun Aleph, which is the same Gematria as Nun Aleph. And if you read it over there, what did he talk about? For those who are paying attention and who are able to understand the words, we're talking about David HaMelech and the sin of Bathsheba. And what does David HaMelech say in the sin of Bathsheba? V'chatasi negdi samid. My sin, it's always in front of me. Now I want to share with you a closer relative of David HaMelech that we read today for the Ashkenazim and for the Sfardim that got stuck in the Ashkenazi minyan. We read it and you got stuck. A lot of chapters are stuck. We got something called Koheles. If you prefer Kohelet, Ecclesiastes. Oh, of course. Now if you look in Ecclesiastes, which happens to be, who wrote Koheles? Koheles, good. Who happened to be Shlomo HaMelech. And Shlomo HaMelech says an amazing idea. It's found in chapter 9, verse 8. Verse 8, the following idea. Says Shlomo HaMelech, B'chol eis yu begadecha levanim. At all times, it continues, I'm just focusing on this. At all times, your clothing should be white. Now what does it mean when he says, B'chol eis yu begadecha levanim? At all times, your clothing should be white. We're talking about now, we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come and save us and help us and make sure that we're going to have a good year. At all times, your clothing should be white. What does that mean? Come to yeshiva, put on white. What does it mean? So he explains, who's he? I heard this from a shir in 5770, because it says on the time, I believe, from Rav Shalom Razer, who was quoting Rav Sorotskin, who said the following idea, a beautiful idea. At all times, your clothing should be white. What does that mean, at all times, your clothing should be white? What it means is that if someone's wearing a nice white garment, you're wearing nice white clothing, you're totally clean. What happens if it gets a little bit dirty? What do? Question mark. What'd you say? What does that mean? Oh, panic. Oh, I thought there was like a Tide stick or something, like a special type of panic stick. Anyway, so your shirt gets dirty. So what do? You panic a little bit, right? You get a little bit oh no, it's dirty. What do? Right? Especially if you're in some sort of event. What do? Seltzer. Like we quickly go and we get it cleaned. What a person must try to do, or we must try to attempt to do, is to keep ourselves clean all the time. At all times, we have to make sure that we stay clean. You see, right now, we just finished off Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We're almost done with Sukkot. We're at the very end. Moving up to Hoshana Rabbah. This is the last opportunity, to do such an idea. What's going to be after this? After this, we've got to be on our game. Get our game on and make sure that what? Like David HaMelech says, "V'chatasi negdi samid." It's always there in front of me. I always notice it there in order that I don't come to fall again. Now I notice something over here. What's b'cholis b'geved havanim? So what happens if you get a little bit dirty? You try to clean it. Imagine you're sitting at a little event and you're eating some soup and it gets you. You get a little dirty. So you quickly get up to go. Clean yourself. And when you get up and you turn around to go, there's a waiter standing there with a bowl of soup. And you walk into the soup. Now it's all over you. What do? So I get different answers generally between men and women, right? If it's men, usually they say we cry. That's to be nice. Okay, if it's women, usually they say we cry. And if it's a man, usually they just pass me a spoon. You see, here's the bottom line. Once you're already dirty, what does it matter to get more dirty? Everybody understand that concept? How many of us have had such a thing before? You get a little dirty, you clean it, but if you get one drop, two drops, three drops, you're already dirty. You don't have to care anymore. You don't have to take the napkin off and just pick that bowl up and start going at it. It doesn't matter anymore. Says Shlomo HaMelech, the same idea. What happens? We're given an incredible gift called kapara. We are atoned for. We're clean. We're pure. We're wonderful. And then what happens? We slip and we fall after Rosh Hashanah. We slip during a series of tshuva. So many people fall the day of Rosh Hashanah itself. And then when we feel like, I already messed up. I'm already dirty. No. B'chol eis, yubegedecha levanim. At all times, make sure your clothing are white. Clean yourself immediately. But then you fall again and you get dirty again. Immediately. And what else does he say? So beautifully. Tichateni be'ezol ve'etar. Tichapseni u'misheleg albin. Unbelievable. We have to clean ourselves. Make sure that we're white as snow, my friends. We're clean. We're pure. And if you fall, okay. We're going to fall. It makes sense. We're going to fall. But you got to make sure that we keep ourselves clean at all times. The Rebbeinu Shalom gives us an incredible gift. Kapara. Again. I messed up again. What's with all this judgment in Judaism? What judgment? It's rachamim. It's unbelievable. What are we atoning for in Hoshana Rabbah? So, Rav Elbaz helped me tonight with that one line. But this morning I was speaking with Shimhi, and they said, what am I talking about tonight? And then Motzei Shabbos I get a phone call from his father, and he says, listen to Rav Daniel Gladstein on Torah Anytime from 16 minutes. So I did. And he quotes the following idea. Daniel Gladstein quotes Rav Shlomo Kluger. Rav Shlomo Kluger was a very, very great sage. Great sage. He wrote a lot of works. And he says the following idea. He says, every day we brought in the Beis HaMikdash 2 Tamidim. Carbon Tamid. the Tamid Shel Shachar and Tamid Shel Bein Arbayim. The morning and the afternoon, which incidentally, the Gemara tells us, is why we daven Shachris and Mincha. We have the morning and the afternoon. What are each one doing there? What are they there for? So he says that Shlomo Kluger explains that, Chazal discussed that averos that are done in the morning, the Tamid Shel Shachar is there to mechaper, to atone for averos that are done the previous night. And the Tamid Shel Bein Arbayim, the ones in the afternoon, the averos that are done during the day. So it's hitting both things, the sins that we've done during the day and the sins that we've done at night. Incidentally, tomorrow's Daf Yomi in Menachos is Daf Nun Aleph, 51. And in there, what does it talk about? The carbon Tamid. And Rav Shlomo Kluger goes on to explain. He says the Medrash says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges the Goyim, he doesn't judge them the same time he judges the Jews. When he judges each, the Goyim and the Jews, at a time when it's better for them. He judges the Midas HaChesed. He judges the non-Jews at the nighttime, because the nighttime they're sleeping and they're not doing Averos. And he judges the Jews during the daytime, because during the daytime we're doing mitzvos. So each one is helping us out. And he goes on to explain, and this is where Shlomo Kluger comes in, and he says that Yom Kippur comes along and is mechaper for the averos that we do during the day, and Hoshana Rabbah is mechaper for the averos that we do at night. I'm not going to go into detail. Ha-mevin yavin, and those who are not yavin, mevin yavin, you're eino mevin. Now, whatever those averos, whatever sins might come out during the night, that's the concept of what Hoshana Rabbah is meant to atone for, which incidentally, the Magen Avraham brings down, which is why it's a minhag that we stay up all night learning and atoning for an Hoshana Rabbah. Rav Gladstein wanted to taina. Yom Kippur is like the big day that people talk about. Hoshana Rabbah, not so much. Why? Because Kol Ha'olam Kula Keshet. Okay, keep it going. Yom Kippur was the big day, right? But Yom Kippur comes along, and what does it atone for? It atones for the averos ever done during the day, because that's when people would do things. Back in the day, what would happen? It would be like night. The lights would shut off, and what would people do? They'd go to sleep. That's what we did. But now, we know that people don't go to sleep anymore at night. They stay up at night. And they do things that we know that we shouldn't be involved with at night. And therefore, perhaps, wants a lesson to say, maybe Hoshana Rabbah is even more important than Yom Kippur. Perhaps staying up, the atonement that we would get on Hoshana Rabbah is even more chashuv because of the things that we're doing, that lo aleinu, that people fall to when they're doing things at night. Now, I heard a very interesting idea from a Rav that lives in our community in French Hill, Rav Bertman. Rav Bertman was living in Eretz Yisrael, and when he was going to move, he moved to Los Angeles, California. He went to Rav Moshe Shapiro and he asked him, "Can you give me a little help? Like, what should I do when I'm going to Los Angeles, California?" Now, this is a long time ago, right? I don't know. I think if I had to guess, it was probably the 1970s. But he was going to LA. So he said to him, "What I recommend is that you get up early in the morning to learn every morning." Why get up early in the morning? Because during the day and even at night, people are involved in doing things they shouldn't be doing. The Sitra Achra is very powerful. But in the morning, the air is still pure and fresh. People are not doing Averos. Get up to learn early in the morning. So what are we doing now, Hoshana Rabbah? What we're doing is we're taking our time, we're making sure that we're going to have the opportunity to fix up, not just the night, I don't want to get caught up only with those things, but everything. This is the chasima, the final idea when we're actually sending out the letters. Now's the time we have to step up our game a little bit and say, now's the time when we're going to jump into it. So what do we do? Number one is that we take this day very seriously. This day is a very serious day. It's a day of judgment. It's also a very big holiday. And we know that tomorrow is such a simcha that even though it's not Yontif, it's like Yontif. We're supposed to have the davening, which is very similar to Yontif. And not only that, what do? We wear today, the Chazan wears and some others, they're going to wear a kittel. Why a kittel? At all times your clothing should be white. We wear a kittel to remind you of Yom HaMisa, the day of death. Because when a person dies, they wear tachrichim, which is burial shrouds. The burial shrouds are very, and we go and remind this concept. What do we do with the Yom Kippur tunes? We have the concept of what happened. We're making this kapara. This is everything which is happening right now. We take the day very seriously. We make sure that if you fall, you get up immediately. There's no hesitation. At all times, we have to be clean and pure and white. At all times, we mess up, immediately fix it. I heard an amazing idea. I said this over one Shabbos in my shul a few years ago, and not my shul, in a shul I daven in. In my shul, no one davens. But that's the kosel in my house, Beis Gabriel. But I said over this idea, and there's a fellow there, Yonah Naaman, who said to me, he has a better idea. We say at all times you should keep your clothing white. In other words, if you get dirty, clean it. He said, I have an idea. How about wear a bib? You see, if you wear a bib, you don't have to worry about your clothing getting dirty. Now, that could be a little awkward seeing you walking around with bibs, but we did make them up, Eish HaTorah's bibs. They're outside. You each are going to... No. So what does that mean to wear a bib? What that means is, v'asu mishmeres l'mishmarti. V'asu siyag l'torah. We have to set up boundaries for ourselves. We have to fix ourselves. Set ourselves up for success. If you don't set yourself up, you're done. As my very good friend Thomas Jefferson said. Is that the $100? Who's on the $100? Okay, we can meet afterwards. Thank you. But as Ben Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We've got to set ourselves up to make sure that we're not going to fail. Set ourselves up to make a big fail. Now, here's just one question. To bring all this together, though, that you have to be wondering, that we talk about during Aseret Yemei Tshuva, the 10 days of repentance, from Rosh Hashanah till Yom Kippur included. We have this thing that we go above and beyond, and we try to be better, and we try to do more, and we try to make ourselves like we're clean and we're pure and everything's wonderful. Now, the question that everybody asks is, isn't it a little bit of a joke? A little bit of a joke. Are we going to be good during these days, and all of a sudden I'm better? I mean, God doesn't know I'm playing games over here. Hashem doesn't know I'm playing a game. Only make sure you eat pas yisrael during Aseret Yemei Tshuva, and only make sure not to do chatoim. Don't do what they say. What is that? The Ramah, I think, says don't eat egozim, right? Because egos is gematria of chet without the aleph, misparkatan the other way, right? So egos, which means a type of nuts, is the gematria numerical value of chet, which is sin. So don't eat nuts because it reminds you of sin. I'm sure you've heard the Kutzker who said there's another gematria of chet, which means sin. And that's chet, which is sin. Don't sin. So you can eat nuts, just don't sin. But we go ahead and what do we say? We're going to be better, we're going to be better. And it sounds like, oh wow, my gosh, angels, they've changed. Really? Do they really think that we've changed? I heard a beautiful idea from a fellow in my community. His name is Chaim Rabinowitz, or if you speak to him in Hebrew, Rabinovich. And he quoted from his Rav, from Rishon LeZion, I can't remember the name offhand. He said a beautiful idea, which really answered a question which bothered me for a long time. He said there was once a king. Now you know I'm Jewish. There was once a king. And this king put out a thing that he wanted someone to make for him a cup, a beautiful cup. So they find who's the best craftsman, and they find this fellow, who this is the top of the top. Of course he's Jewish. And they call him in, and they say, okay, this is what I'm looking for, the top of the top. He says, all right, your highness, your majesty, your excellence. What I'm going to need is this much gold, this much silver, this much diamond, this much rubies, this much. And every month, I need a salary of 100,000 kapuchkinis, which is modern day dollars. $100,000 a month. So he says, okay, no problem, you got it. So he goes home, tells his wife, we are in the money. And what happens? He sits down to work a couple minutes, and he's like, I got so much cash. Let's go buy some stash, right? So he goes out, and he starts partying. He starts enjoying himself, living the good life, and every month, Keseder, he gets in his bank account 100,000 kapuchkinis dollars. And after 3-4 months of this, he starts getting friendly with the high life. Now, when you get friendly with the high life, high society, you got to start living up to that, so he needs more money. But he doesn't have enough that he's making a month anymore. So he sells a few diamonds. Next month, sells a few rubies, a little gold, a little silver, until it's a month before. It's a month before the due date. And he gets a message from the king. Hear ye, hear ye. Hear thoueth, hear thoueth. We looketh forwardeth to your cuppeth, sooneth. Signed, your king. So then he's like, oh no. He's got a month left. He doesn't even have all the diamonds and the stuff left. He has some. He spends day and night over that month. Day and night over that month, putting everything he has into it. And he makes an unbelievable cup, really unbelievable. In the case that you look at it and you go, I don't believe it. And someone says, really? And you say, yes. And say, that's unbelievable. And they bring it in. Finally comes the day, he calls him in, he takes out the cup and he puts it in front and he says, here you go, Your Majesty, your cup. And the Majesty says, wow. And then everyone goes, ooh. And the Majesty says, I didn't say you could talk yet. Off of their heads. And then he got new people. And he says, you cannot talk. And they said, ooh. And everyone's like blown away by this cup. Amazing cup. And it really was incredible. It had carvings. And I could waste more time to fill more, because that's what speakers do. And it had such beautiful, and it was, the work was, the calligraphy of it was just calligraphous. It was just unbelievable. The king said, thank you so much. Beautiful. Okay, sag gesund. He said, sag bench. And he left. A couple days later, he gets a message. I'd like us to see if you againeth. Pleaseth cometh, your king. So he comes in front of the king. And the king says to him, listen. And now he's like, oh no. He caught on to me. He says, listen, you made a cup which rivals all cups. What a beautiful cup, really beautiful. Thank you. There's only one problem. Your Majesty, I'm so sorry. For what? What was the problem? We weighed the cup. And by our ledgers, it seems like it should have weighed 5 kilo, and it seems to only weigh about 3 kilo. Where's the stuff, my friend? He lays it all out. Your Majesty, I am so sorry. Please, he begs for his life. I'll tell you the truth. I walked away from you. I had the cash. I got the stash. I got the high life. 3 months later, I'm selling diamonds. I'm selling rubies. I'm selling gold. I'm selling silver. I don't know what to do anymore. Your Majesty, it was me. I'm sorry. I spent it. Please, I beg of you, look at the cup that I built. Look at the cup that I made for you. It's true. I wasted my time. I wasted potential of sorts. I wasted potential. I did things I shouldn't have done. I was involved in things in the night I shouldn't have been. I was involved in things during the day I shouldn't have been. I've done things I shouldn't have done. Melech Malchei HaMelechim. Toda al Chaim Alo Shel Abech Yatzchok. Give me more, please. I beg of you. You see what I've done? This is what I could do. Let this be just a little dugma, a little expression, an example of what I'm able to do. Please give me another chance. You see, Aseret Semei Tshuva, if a person goes through that, if like they're about to buy bread from a non-Jewish baker, and instead they buy from a Jewish baker, and they're like, God, sucker. He thinks I'm good. That's a problem. But if the thought process is, during these days, Hashem, let me show you what I can do. Let me show you what I can be. Now we know, Chazal teaches, Hakol holech acher chasima. Everything goes after the end. Whereas in other things we know, as things dwindle down, they come to an end. We know the way that it works in Yiddishkeit, it's the opposite. It doesn't dwindle down, it just goes up and up and up. We're standing now at what's possibly the holiest time of the year. Besides Shabbos. We're standing now what's possibly the holiest time of the year. We're about to, God willing, stay up all night learning. Be'ez Hashem, and those who are planning on leaving, we'll watch you carefully. We're going to stay up all night. Now's an opportunity to show the Ribbon Shalom. You gave me a chance, Elul, and I did a little. I did, but then I fell. You gave me a chance for Rosh Hashanah, but I fell. You gave me a chance Yom Kippur, but I fell. You gave me a chance Hoshana Rabbah. You know what? I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to steig. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. I'm going to change myself. I'm going to show you who I am, Hashem. This is a little dugma. Let me show you a little expression of who I am. Leiv tahor bara li Elokim. Hashem, like we said in Kapitel Nun Aleph. Leiv tahor bara li Elokim v'ruach nachon chadesh b'kirbi. Al tashlichini milfanecha v'ruach kachcha al tikach mimeni. Don't send me away. Leiv Torah, you gave me a beautiful, pure, clean heart, and we know that Torah is what purifies and changes a person. We're going to take this opportunity. We're not going to throw it away. Now, there's so much more to talk about, but what I'm going to do is like this. I wish I could tell you I'm going to do a quick recap, but I honestly have no idea what I said so far. I'm going to try. We're going to do a quick recap of everything we did. I didn't want to end up with a point, and then with, remind me, of a little Kabbalah, a little message, remind me, a little point, and then just remind me about, it's hard. You got that? Okay. So we started making a very simple, the concept of what I'm going to talk about. Hoshana, what's Hoshana? Hoshana is Nun Aleph. What's Nun Aleph? It's 51, it's 51, it's 51 days. It's coming to the day of what are we starting with Elul until the day of now. Today is 51 days. So we say, Hashem said, Hoshana, save us please. And this day was a day of 51. Understand what we do over here, get a little further. What else is 51? 51 is not 52. 51 is not 52. 51 is not 52. Just because you had a good year for your whole life doesn't mean you're going to survive for another year. And doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's not going to be good this year. Understand that every year is its own thing. Because Baruch Hu is a Rachamim, is a Chesed, gives opportunity to continue on with it, even though we don't deserve it, which means maybe you already used it up. At some point it might finish, which means take it seriously. Why is there so much pain and so much judgment? What are you talking about? Judgment? It would be done already. This isn't judgment, this is chesed. The Bible says, another chance. You messed up, fine, give him another chance. You messed up, give him another chance. You messed up, give him another chance. Hanukkah, give him another chance, right? But what do we learn? Like, as opposed to Purim. It's amazing. The Bible loves us. And gives us chance after chance after chance to be able to go and fix ourselves. Then we get a little further, and the Gemara tells us what's found in place 51. What's 51? 51, 51, 51, which is found in the Gemara in Menachos. The idea of talking about the Taminim, what's the Taminim? Talking about, we understand the concept. We got a little further realized there. Rav Shlomo Kluger brings up the concept. We say that the two Taminim, one's for the day, one's for the night. The night's for the day, and the day's for the night. Go to fix something. What is the fix up? Yom Kippur is a concept. What is fix up? What is the day? No Shalom. What is the night? What is the fix up? I'm not explaining. I'm even Yovin. But realize the concept. What's going on over here, my friends? This is an opportunity to be able to fix up, to be attacking, to fix up, to I don't know how to say, to atone for, a real atonement for the fact that maybe we've fallen with this thing. Yeah, but I mean, come on, I've fallen, and Hashem, you're going to give me a chance. Oh, Hashem, what does he say? Hashem says, just work a little harder. What is that, fake? No, this is what I can do. Hashem, look what I can do. I can do better. I can be better. And this is a little dugma, a little presentation of what I can do over here. It's not fake. It's meant to be real. And if you messed up even that, everything goes after the ending. Right now we're at the Chasim, we're at the very end. Now's our opportunity. Hoshana, Hoshana. Hashem, save us on 51, which is the 50 days. Al tashlicheni, al Gematria 31, no relevance. But realize the fact of what's going on, how it's going, He's saving us, we've got to get our game on. Aleph Nun. And if we start to get our game on na, then there's no question that Kosh Baruch Hu is going to be chosim, which is going to be l'chaim tov m'sham, because Hashem Baruch. Understand the fact of what happens when Britain was told that learn in the morning, because the morning is the purest time, which is the cleanest time. What's going on over here? We understand what happens here. An yochid, ato yochid, that's the concept of what echad be yochid tov, echad belvad. Realize the fact how much the Kosh Baruch Hu comes in and we got b'chol is pure b'echad belvad. At all times, your clothing should be white. Make sure your clothing are white. At all times, your clothing should be white. I forgot what hard meant. Anyway, at all times, it should be white. Realize the fact of what's going on over here. Because Baruch gives us the opportunity. If we mess up, clean it immediately. Because once we get dirty, we don't care anymore. Once we get dirty, we don't care anymore. So make sure we don't get to the point where we get dirty. And use this opportunity. Tomorrow, Yom Tov, we have the Last Supper. Last of Sukkot is tomorrow. Use this as an opportunity for growth. To get somewhere. To show the Ribono Shel Olam we could really be. To say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I got you covered. Cover me, I got you covered. What's the only way to make things real, though? This is a speech, which is another speech. And you'll hear another speech in your life, and you've heard other speeches. And you've heard thousands of speeches, or hundreds of speeches. You've been to college. You should have heard thousands, but you didn't go to class. There are so many speeches you've heard in your life. How many have impacted you and really changed your life? Every one of them, you're lying. No, but everyone a little bit. And Rabbi Akiva. How many of them have really changed your life? The reason why a speech will change your life or will not change your life will depend on one thing. The only way a speech can have an impact, or a lecture, a talk, a shir, a shmooze, will actually impact your life is if you take something from it and you do something. A Kabbalah. Must take a Kabbalah. Must take something upon ourselves. And people, if I could change the pace a little, where people go and say, yeah, Take small things. Because you should really take small. I'd like to change that. Go big or go home. People are playing that game for too long. I'll take small things. I'm just not ready. Enough of that. I'm just not ready, small things. Take something on substantial. Take something on real. If I can give one example, at the behest of a very close friend of mine, it might be helpful to do something with the night and the day and the afternoon. Erev Avoker B'choyom Tamid. We daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How many people when they're davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we're asking Hashem, Sifasai Tiftach, Ufi Yagiti L'Secha, which is found incidentally in which chapter of Tehillim? 51. There's even an area 51 set up for this. We say, Hashem Sifasai Tiftach, Hashem, open up our mouth so we can say your prayer. Baruch atah phone. Elokeinu v'Elokeinu v'seinu. Shut your phones when you daven. Put them away. Hashem, I got you covered. Maybe get it covered. If we're falling to certain sins for certain reasons, maybe take a step. Shut your cell phones. I've mentioned this a couple of times, and I'll mention it this lesson. We'll end with this. Lefi Minyanam it is. Today is September 29th? 30th? I don't know if my watch is right. 29th? 30th. Okay, it depends which time zone. It's September 30th. I want to tell you that 2 years, 2 months, and 21 days ago, I was biking home from Isha Torah. Not on an electric bike, on a regular one. I was listening to Torah anytime, with one in, so I could hear the traffic. And it was broken, that piece. And I was listening to Rabbi Pesach Krohn. And I've listened a lot to Rabbi Pesach Krohn over the years. I've never heard him raise his voice, like yell. I couldn't believe it. I'm driving in Adam Smith Street, I think. Is that what it's called? French Hill. It's by the Pesel, by the Idol. Halavan. Make the right turn. Adam Smith. As I make that turn, my friend yells at me, "Don't put your phone on vibrate." I said, "I won't." He yelled, "Shut off your cell phone." It was July 9th, 2016. My wife was not too happy that I decided that day to do it, because my son was born 4 days later. She was in her late stages of the 9th month. I'm like, I'm shutting my cell phone. Good luck. 2 years, 2 months, 21 days ago, I have either not brought my phone to shul. At least once a week I do it, every Saturday. But the whole week, and you can call me out on it if you see me, 2 years, 2 months, 21 days, I have either not had my cell phone with me or shut it off for every single tefillah. Shut it off. I shut my phone off. How many people shut their phone off ever? I shut it off 3 times a day at least. Sometimes 5. I live near an Arab village. I'm begging you, if this is not what you're going to take, so don't take this. Take something, though. Take this. If it's not this, something, but this. The gematria of shut your phone. 51. Don't work it out. That's what they say, you know the story? Like, anyone know why does the Torah end with the word bi'ahava? Why? I'm sorry? What does it end with? So that's one answer. But another answer, so the gematria of shut your phone, who knows, right? The point is, get our game on. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say, but it's, okay, next year. Rabbi Isai, if I could ask of you and beg of you, as we stand now, the Melech Agadol Va'anora, on Yom Hadin Mamish, the very end, to take the opportunity that we stay up. And if you're planning on going to sleep, stay up. And if you fall asleep, Beseder. You show the Rebbeinu Shalom, I fell asleep learning your Torah. Take something upon ourselves, make it real. Connect it to Area 51 to remember what's going on. And Be'ezah Hashem Yisbarach, with such a thing, not only, God willing, will it have been a chesiva, but it should also be a chasima tova, a piska tova, a good gebenstyor for us in Gans Klal Yisrael. Amen.
Thank you, Rav Gav. All Eish Talmidim and guests are invited to join for a very strong hour and more of learning. Over the next hour, many of the Eish morning Rebbeim, Rabbi Dubov, Rabbi Label, Rabbi Kahan, Rabbi Hirschman, Rabbi Sklar, Rabbi Berman are here. They'll be learning with their shirim in the Beis Medrash. Anyone should find their Rebbeim and are invited to join. After that, there'll be some food on the porch, I think approximately around 1:30, and then there'll be optional shiurim throughout the night. Everyone's invited to join, learn hard, and have a great Hoshana Rabbah.